Hey Virgo, happy Thanksgiving, and thank you so much for everything that you're constantly doing for the channel, which is basically just showing up and viewing and interacting and participating. I am blown away at the level of support and commitment you guys have shown, and the fact that more views keep happening. Virgo videos have been getting more and more popular, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you, especially to all of you who have basically stuck around since the beginning. On Thanksgiving, I know that we're supposed to focus on what we have and focus on being grateful for what we have. And ultimately, I'm really grateful I have you. So let's get into the reading. Mercury is in Scorpio, right? And the reason why that impacts you is because Mercury is your ruling planetary body. Now, of course, it's not the only planet that affects you, but you should always watch where Mercury is, because if there's a difference to your personality or attitude or just your perspective on things, knowing where Mercury is going to really, I think, help you to understand. Like I'm a Cancerian, we're ruled by the moon every single day, because the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So every single day, the first thing I do when I wake up is I check, where's the moon? Where's the moon today? It could actually help you to understand a little bit about, why do I notice certain things at certain times but not at others? And why does it feel somehow like things or thoughts get slower for me? Why am I more intuitive at times? Why am I more, objective at times? All of those things actually will make a lot more sense if you follow your Mercury. And of course, everybody talks about Mercury retrograde, right? But ultimately, Virgo, it doesn't just impact you when you're retrogrades are not the only thing that will impact you. It will be shifting zodiac signs, because it's almost like being in a foreign country or a foreign land. As Mercury goes through the zodiac, it's almost like Mercury is still the same. It's the planet of intellect. It's the planet of reason. It's the power. It's the planet of research. It's the planet of objective thinking, objective reasoning, critical thinking, putting things together, intellect, and communication, which means communication, all forms of communication, digital communications, as well as, nonverbal communications, all kinds of communications. And the reason why when retrograde comes into play, that everybody says communications get all messed up, is less to do with the breakdown of the communications, the systems themselves, which absolutely can happen, but more or less just the communications being misunderstood, because it's Mercury is impacting the way that our brain can perceive information, which is what it does. Usually when there's a real big technological breakdown, it's because something's going on with Uranus, because Uranus rules technology. But ultimately, Mercury is going to be Mercury impacts communication a great deal, and it's always going to impact you. So when it's in a different zodiac sign, here it is, it's in Scorpio. So how does Mercury behave in Scorpio, and why am I telling you this? You probably already know it, because you may have been feeling a lot more intuitive, like your intuitions are firing off. A lot of times that intuition is something that you try to overlook. I know that you are intuitive, but your intuition is something that always falls secondary to your reason, your rationale, being able to put things together, put facts together, and deduce a factual, quantifiable answer to something. And it happens so quickly in your brain. It's like your brain is a computer, and it's crazy impressive. But when Mercury is in water signs, most especially, in water signs in general, it's more it's more intuitive, but it's more learning. It's more about taking in information and absorbing information, uncovering information, which is what it's doing in Scorpio. So ultimately, there is a sense of you uncovering right now some information that would lead to you needing to take some time to process. And I know I never have to tell a Virgo, hey, take some time, be by yourself. But this is actually time when you actually kind of need to take some time and be by yourself, or actually go and ask somebody who is an expert in whatever field of interest you've been making these discoveries in, because it will help to clarify a lot. Because ultimately, just because all of a sudden the information comes up doesn't mean you know how to make sense of it, you who seems to know how to make sense of everything. But when Mercury is in Scorpio, it's really about learning things and uncovering things that you haven't had any access to before. So this is a great time for you to like dig deep and start doing some research, which is, I mean, I have many Virgos in my life. They love research. So this is that time. And if you found yourself sort of set up for lots of digging in, and you've almost felt yourself drawn to some kind of PI work, whatever it is, PI, maybe not officially PI work, but PI work in terms of, digging deep, going deeper, maybe deeper than you would have gone before, and ultimately trusting not your ego but your intuition to lead you into those directions, just like basically following your curiosity. It's because of Scorpio's impact on Mercury. There is a lot that you're going through right now in terms of not only finding out information that may not be so comfortable for you to process, something that touches your heart, as well as maybe confuses or joggles your brain a little bit. But ultimately, I think that there is a mentality in you right now where you don't want to discuss things. Like you're trying to keep things to yourself. Not necessarily your opinions, but your curiosities, like what you're investigating and what you have a keen sense of what's going on. It's like almost like you're at a point where you don't want to talk about it yet. You want to just keep investigating. So this isn't about opinion. This is about almost like a hunch that you're chasing and following. And ultimately, it's really interesting. It's almost like a hunch that you have. It's almost like a hunch that you have that somebody is checking you out or watching you or has their eyes on you. And this could be it's almost like, I was going to say uncomfortable. And I do think that by the end of this week, it will start to be resolved. But ultimately, there is that sense of who's watching me, who's looking at me, and why are they doing so? And let me start showing you the cards. Your commitment is being tested, right? There is this sense of being unclear and being unsure about a commitment that you made. Now, I know you see a wedding ring here and you see a house here. It doesn't necessarily have to do with home. In fact, the way that the planets are right now, the fourth house is pretty clear. Like it really is. The 10th house is not pretty clear. Okay. So some things could be up with your mother in some ways. But ultimately, it's more about career. And seventh house has major activity too, so it could also be about romantic partnerships. But in terms of domesticity, your home and your family life, what you build in your home, that should be secure. So it could very well be this sense of you starting to seek or look for new jobs, and you don't want your employer to know. But ultimately, your employer, you have the feeling like your employer kind of has a hunch that a shift is going to happen, or you could be feeling this toward them, or you could be feeling it towards somebody that you love, a spouse or mother or a father, a sense of feeling something in the air that their employment is about to be let go, or a change, a shift. Their employer is going to ask them for something new, something different that they hadn't asked them for before, which may really impact your home life and your experiences at home. And so ultimately, it's almost like you have these intuitions. You don't necessarily have all the facts yet. So before you say anything, you want to get all the information that you can, but it's almost like somebody's looking at you, looking at them. And you'll pick up on that at least by midweek, this sort of sensation of, I'm not the only one doing research here, am I? Which is backing you into a corner, making you feel like, well, I have some decisions to make here. I have some decisions. Let me just finish the thought. I have some decisions to make here. I have to act on this now. I have to do something about it. I have to stay ahead of this. I have to stay in control of it. Virgo, that's what I want you to avoid, because don't let anybody back you into a corner, especially not through suppositions, right? Breathe through this and continue to be as rational as possible. Yes, honor your intuitions, and then maybe look into whoever might be looking into you to get some more information on that. But do not be forced or backed into any kind of make a decision now, choose now, because it will be rash and it will be almost self-sabotaging. Chiron's location to Aries, which is now direct, and especially midweek, because the moon is in Aries, and that can make us very defensive and very pop-offish. And then its relationship to the sun, there could be a lot of things that are happening right now in terms of our self, in terms of our ego, in terms of what we feel is our place in the world, that we would get overreactionary on. And what that's going to do is kind of like set you up for issues, not necessarily destruction, but issues that you don't need to have. So that is why it's imperative right now to just keep doing that research. And if you feel like, oh, somebody's looking at me, somebody's watching, okay, research that. Try to figure out, okay, who is it? First of all, let me confirm. And then why? What is their interest in me? And then definitely, not to say that you should talk about this to anybody, but to say that ask for help. You know what I'm saying? Don't just try to figure it out all on your own. Consult somebody, but somebody who A, is more professional, and B, somebody who knows, that knows, like somebody that you would be able to trust, right? It's like vetting somebody, which is what you could be doing too, almost like vetting somebody to open up to, especially if you feel like you've been having some sort of relationship issues. And like I said, partnership can definitely be strained right now. So there's just this sense of maybe you're exploring or looking into researching different kinds of experts to come in and help you out in terms of working through things that may be a little bit too sensitive for you to work through on your own. But your intuition is really, really high right now, and it's got to do with the moon. And ultimately it's got to do with Scorpio. This is a Scorpionic energy card, and also feeling like, holy shit, maybe somebody, it's like you want to keep a secret. You don't want eyes on you, and you also want to hold back what you're thinking, but it's almost like somebody's trying to draw you out. Not to bait you, but it's almost like somebody knows what you're thinking or what you're feeling, and they're kind of like researching you as well. Now, if this is some sort of soulmate or partner situation, there is this sense this week that they may be researching you. They really do, and it's ultimately like that will cue in things in your head like, okay, what's going on? Do they not trust me? Or, why, what are they feeling? Ultimately, there is this sense of you have been holding back. And I don't think that you've been holding back because you've been trying to be intentionally deceptive. You've just been trying to figure things out and work things out on your own, and you just need some frickin' time. But you have been holding back. I mean, that's what this card means, that there's a sense of not feeling like you can say what you need to say out loud, or not feeling like you can tell the truth about a situation. And once again, it's not about your opinions, because you never have any trouble about your opinions. This is about something that you're trying to work through that's a hell of a lot deeper. But this is definitely keeping your eye on somebody. Somebody's looking at you, you're looking at them. It's like you may not even know that you're looking at each other. This sense of interest in each other, interest in what's going on underneath the surface with each other, but ultimately not yet being ready to actually come out and confront somebody. But that will change. That will definitely change. Things are foggy and unclear right now, but that's going to change. Here we have master the dance, which is educating yourself, learning, and ultimately dancing, which is kind of, which to me implies relationship, you know, always that partnership, that fine-tuned, you know, what's my next step, watching your step, watching my step, sort of coming together in some ways. So it could very well be, for those of you who are not linked up with somebody, or even those of you who are, there's just a sense of doing that almost courtship dance right now, of skating around the issue, not yet ready to talk to each other, but kind of like not able to get your minds off of each other either. And then there's choreography. So very much for you, organizing and trying to structure and be the one that determines what the next step is. Now, yeah. So it could very well be that you want to learn enough about the situation to be the one that is choosing the steps. You definitely, there is a sense here of you really want to be the one who is, who understands what the next step is by deciding what it is. But ultimately, this is a kind of, I think, a kind of choreography that you're going to have to partner with. Hold on. I mean, definitely, hi, beautiful. My puppy was scratching at the door. All right, say hi to Virgo. I don't know why this is the only set of cards that is kind of making me feel uncomfortable right now, Virgo. I almost think, no, it's a good thing that you definitely want to take the bull by the horns, but you don't know enough about this bull yet. And so ultimately the best stance for you to take is to just try to understand the choreography instead of actually try to do it, right? And that's why these cards came out together. It's like, first master the dance, or really understand and know and be certain of what's going on here. So you're really just looking at the choreography right now. You're not trying to actually rush in and do the choreography. And for those of you Virgos out there, this is like a red flag, just to let you know that if you try to rush into making decisions before you actually are ready to make the decision, that's what I'm telling you. Just beware of the pressure inside of yourself. Well, they're expecting me to make decisions, so I have to make, no. You know very, very well that you have to make good decisions, and that you have to make its quality as well as quickness, right? So there's a sense of, if you're not ready yet, please do not let anybody back you into a freaking corner or make you feel like, because it's going to come from you. The pressure isn't necessarily on the outside. The pressure is on the inside of, well, I got to live up to these expectations. No, you have to honor yourself. You have to honor what you're ready for. That's what you have to do right now. Because there's a great opportunity to learn here and really understand like what you can learn about somebody from the choices that they're making and the way that they move and the way that they shift themselves. That's what I think is really here. It's like when Mercury's in Scorpio, you guys will act a different way. Things come from the underneath instead of on top, right? It's definitely not quantifiable data. A lot of it is very subjective. So what you're doing is you're kind of reading the subtext right now. Hold on. Read the subtext and almost like have like a vision board, not vision board, but like a board up to see what is the possible options right now, and see if this is pattern work. That's what it is. The best logical way to like translate intuition into something quantifiable is patterns. Check out the patterns right now, Virgo, because that's really going to reveal the truth about what somebody feels, what they're thinking, who is it actually looking at you right now. All of those things, it's patterning. So let me read to you a little bit of the spirit animal cards. I'm going to get into your main reading too, don't worry. Ladybug, good luck. So it's not a bad week at all. You are a bright energy. Let worry go and be happy here and now. Feel good about being a loving and colorful you. You bless the world with color and good luck. So it really is on the surface, not hiding or pretending, but allowing yourself to enjoy those simple pleasures and just life simply, as opposed to feeling like there has to be more right now. I know that you know more is going on under the surface, but it's kind of amorphous. So what is it that what is there to talk about? This is really a time for you to like indulge your mind and lap up the dessert of problem solving. Lizard regeneration. As a survivor, you are unparalleled. No matter what happens, you can adapt. Embrace your transformation. Put on your new cloak. You are a master of regeneration. That's really interesting too, because you have crossroads here. So this is different for you and you are behaving differently. And not only that, there could be changes coming, but you know as well as I do that in order to be comfortable with any kind of change, you have to understand it intimately and understand the necessity for it. And so I think this is sort of preemptive, but take your time to get comfortable with this change and do it in the way that you do best, which is digging down into the research right now. Cougar, assertive. In silence, you find your power. Claim your leadership role and take action. You know where to go and what to do. You have the courage and confidence to succeed. It could very well be that the leveling up is what's making you uncomfortable right now, because ultimately you're not really sure that you want it. And ultimately, even if this, especially if this is a boss situation, you're sure that they're sure that you don't want it. And you're wondering, how much time do I have from them to give them the answer? Pronghorn, action. Now is time to act. Opportunities are here. Move forward with confidence. Your talents will always help you land on the pinnacle. Your quick wit and keen senses will lead you to success. This is a slow and subtle action. This is not just jump on it kind of action. In fact, this kind of action isn't really even recommended, honestly, until this coming weekend after the major holiday. Just an FYI. But it's also a good sign that ultimately it will resolve itself and you'll be able to come to a conclusion that you can then act on. The more you've prepared, the more you understand the person on the other side, the more you understand why they behave the way that they behave, or at least understand their pattern of behavior, so that you can sort of predict their next step or kind of step into the dance knowing their moves, and suddenly, oh my God, it's like magical symmetry. That's kind of what's happening right now. You're preparing yourself to be able to take action, but smart action. And then dog or friend. Today I will love without condition. My energy and enthusiasm are an inspiration. I choose to be happy. I am a protector and a friend. Really, really interesting. That implies that in so many ways, first of all, it lets me know that there's loyalty here. It's not like you're trying to deceive anybody at all. You're just trying to understand them better. And then it also makes me realize that there's this sense of trying to protect people that you care about and that you love. So it does have to do with the heart space. It does have to do with cultivating your home. It could have something to do with, I don't think it's problems within the family though, so much as it is something that could impact them. Learn from the past. See, ultimately you didn't have the information that you needed in the past. This is Taurus energy. So it could be something to do with finances. You may not have had the finances there, the support there to actually take action in the past, because it came up in the past. So there is just this sense of there was no way that you could learn from the past because you didn't have all the information. This implies that there was still things to be learned and understood. And so that could be seek an expert, this sense of, I don't understand this. Can you help me make sense of this? Go ahead and talk to somebody. Because they will be able to turn that around for you. Trust in the great mystery. So this is diving in deep, like holding your breath and diving in deep. And the sense of right now, kind of almost finding a way, to me, this is ultimately, this is like the perfect metaphor for the moon in Scorpio, because it just dives really down. It just kind of like sinks itself into the deep, fathomless oceans, in a sense of how uncomfortable that can be for you, as well as how kind of intriguing it can be for you. A lot of times that's why Virgos get attracted to Scorpios. It's like you can feel the uncertainty, but that also leads to excitement. So it could very well be a sense of sensuality, not emerging, but actually from the submergence. Like the only thing that you have down there is your way to feel things through and your intuition. So there is that sense of being in an uncomfortable environment, but being intrigued by the uncomfortable environment, which still means you have control of, I don't know, the camera just froze. You have control of at least some sort of interaction with this kind of new, amorphous, slightly unsettling situation that you're in right now. You see clearly. This is Aquarius energy. You could be dealing with an Aquarius, you could be dealing with a Scorpio, you could be dealing with a Taurus, you could be dealing with any freaking sign, to be honest with you. But ultimately, this is Aquarius energy, owl spirit, being able to see in the dark, which is really good because it's really fucking dark down there. You know, this is 6 + 5 is 11, awakening to all kinds of information that you didn't have access to before, and all of a sudden it becoming extremely clear to you what it means. And so first, it's almost like this week, if I could like block out your time for you, it would be like this week is understanding it, just understanding it. That's the best way. And then by the weekend, by the end of this week, it's almost like, okay, now I can start making some decisions as to what actions I want to take from here. But ultimately, there is just this sense of right now, I need to understand this. I do. And I'm not going to be pushed into a conclusion until I'm ready. Be here now. Be in the present moment. Everything is calling you to be in the present moment and see the beauty of the situation. Just be intrigued by something odd or weird that you see. Let yourself sort of, and it could very well be a very passionate sense, because Scorpio is a very sensual sign, and Venus is down there too, and Mercury and Venus are now conjunct, both in Scorpio. So ultimately, this can be a very sensual time, an appeal, almost feeling maybe that your partner is curious about something else that they haven't brought up to you. You might be resigned to tell them things that you feel inside. They may be too. You could be sensing it in each other. So ultimately, you're doing this dance around each other, not wanting to say anything, but both of you intuitively feeling something. It cites a change in the relationship, but it's very beautiful. It's very intriguing. Maybe a sense of sensuality coming into play, or a different kind of eroticism. So definitely, if you've been feeling that lately and you're tiptoeing around it, this could be that dance that you're doing right now with each other, if we're talking about relationships. So let's get into the angel cards. Virgo, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Click that subscribe button, as well as ring that bell, so that you get all the notifications for all the content I upload. I upload about 12 videos a week, sometimes more, but every single Friday is when I upload the Virgo specific. So you definitely ring that bell and make sure that you get that notification. There's always an extended reading, and you can go to that now if you want. The extended is below in the description box. Just click on the link, and we get a real deep dive into with tarot, into the energies that are going on, and articulates things a lot better. And then over in Vimeo, that's over on Vimeo, and you can subscribe directly to Vimeo and have access to those extended videos about a day before the people who wait for YouTube to come out to have access to it. Because yes, the extended videos absolutely are directly related to these videos, but they also have messages of their own, especially the romance video is the romance reading is part of that video. So you can just head on over there directly, or even before watching this if you wanted to. I do a daily tarot card reading Monday through Fridays on Instagram. So please do join me. I'm not doing them now because it is vacation, but ultimately every week, Monday through Friday, I do a live video that you can join in and participate in. It's a general daily reading, and that's over on Instagram at _without_boundaries. You can find me over there. So let's get these angel messages. And hopefully what we can do is head over to the extended reading and kind of see exactly what this topic is for most of you, like what the situation is for most of you. Forgiveness. Let the past go. Clear your heart and mind through forgiveness. So something is definitely changing, and there is need or a call to release those expectations of what you've learned before. So this is something going on that defies explanation in your world. Imagine, clearly visualize the life you want, feel it in your heart and soul, and so it will come to be. This is brand new. And the only time brand new happens is when we're able to let go of old and old expectations. Positive outcome. The sun is about to burst through the clouds, and you will soon see things in a different light. Something that previously seemed hopeless will soon be filled with nothing but hope. This is that dawning, that aha, that resolution that you're seeking. Middle path. Embrace both sides. The middle path is the road to a balanced and more peaceful life. So finding where the two of you meet. Let's go over to tarot and see the rest of the information. I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. The link is below. I'll see you there.